Truthseekers is a viewer-supported show. Wonderful people like you who enjoy this show send pledges in the form of super chats, super stickers, super thanks, PayPal or Cash App. Instructions for how to help are in the description. You can also join our Patreon, and for as little as $1 a month you can get extra content. Patreon supporters get a backstage pass, early access to all our production videos before they are distributed publicly, Stephen Campion's music, private writings, a monthly show journal, and more. You can also become a YouTube channel member for $5 a month. A YouTube membership includes all of the Patreon benefits, plus a special members badge, priority reply to video comments, and the live chat, plus a monthly members only video. We thank you all, kind and generous benefactors, for supporting Truthseekers. Thank you for your generosity and support. Truthseekers is a viewer-supported show. Now there's a great way to support these broadcasts and show your support. Please be sure and check out our merchandise store. Links to our 2 merchandise online stores are in the links to this video or podcast. The Amazon storefront ships super quickly in the United States, Great Britain, and in many more places. Amazon may not ship to your country or location. If that's the case, hit our second merchandise link in the description and visit our Redbubble storefront. Merchandise from our Redbubble storefront ships worldwide, but may take longer than Amazon. We've got a great deal of super high quality merchandise for you to choose from, including t-shirts, phone cases, sweatshirts, and even pillows. The feedback from our products have been overwhelmingly great. Quality products and fast shipping. People all over the world are buying some merchandise and showing their support of the show. Praise the cash! Praise the cash! Praise the cash! We thank you all, kind and generous benefactors who are buying some merchandise and helping us to continue this journey. Thanks for being here. This is Truthseekers with your host, Stephen Campion. Please rate, like and comment on our videos or podcasts. If you are listening to an audio podcast, please rate us 5 stars to help us rise in the search rankings. If you are watching on YouTube, please like, comment and subscribe to our channel. If you're listening to an audio podcast, we love and appreciate you listeners, but you are missing the live tapings. All our shows are recorded live with video feed. We'd love you to come be a part of our live broadcasts and tapings for the podcast. Head on over to YouTube, click the search tool, the little magnifying glass, put Truthseekers, one word in the search bar, and hit enter. You'll see a strange and mysterious guy with sunglasses. That means you found the channel. Go there, smash the subscribe button and hit the notification bell to receive up-to-date info on our YouTube channel. We welcome you to be a part of our live taping and our chat room during the live broadcasts. Seek the truth. Speak the truth. This is Truthseekers. Truthseekers.
Greetings and salutations, friends. I apologize for the late start of the show. It's been really difficult to get here. I go down these real small highways, right? Like small 2-lane highways to get to the cabin, and there's always something going on. There's something going on here. I'm sorry for that noise. That is an ice machine, a tabletop ice machine. So, yeah, of course, there was an accident getting here. I'm having a real hard time. You know, I leave around 6, and it's supposed to be a 2-hour drive. Sometimes it turns into a 2.5 or 3-hour drive if there's something going on in the road. Yeah, real funny. Out of context, CW Channer. Make fun of a dead guy. So, yeah, I apologize for the late start of the show. I'm here. I'm at the cabin. Yeah, we're just a little bit late. So you may remember that we covered in 2 previous episodes of Truthseekers the rampant conspiracy land fairy tales and rumors that were going around concerning the tragic death of Mark McCandlish. For those not aware or familiar with Mark McCandlish was one of the original people giving testimony to Stephen Greer's Disclosure Project at that press club event. But previous to that, really, he began making his way into the UFO community and lecturing and talking very openly about something called the ARV, the Alien Reproduction Vehicle. And just to summarize, apparently one of Mr. McCandlish's close friends, and by the way, Mr. McCandlish was an aviation illustrator, and you probably have seen his work on covers of popular magazines like Omni, other science magazines, Popular Mechanics, Popular Science. But he became known to the UFO community because a friend of his attended an event in which there was a public Air Force show, where aircraft are on display and maybe the Blue Angels will fly or the Thunderbirds do stunt flights and things like that. But at that same public Air Force show, there was a very private showing of some highly classified aircraft, including some hover vehicles, what could only be described as an Aurora aircraft, which would be the predecessor to the SR-71 Blackbird that many have theorized exists and so on in conspiracy land, but the government has never acknowledged exists. And then, of course, were these things that Mark McCandlish would later call the ARV, or the Alien Reproduction Vehicle. And now it's claimed by Mark McCandlish and others that these aircraft were real, developed in the 50s, late 50s, early 60s, from back engineering alien propulsion systems from recovered craft. At least that's the story as Mark McCandlish told it. Now, tragically, not long ago, Mark McCandlish committed suicide. And anytime something like that happens to somebody in conspiracy land, rumors start to fly. And immediately, people began peddling stories, most notably Robert Morningstar and Kerry Cassidy of Project Camelot. I mean, Scamelot. Kerry Cassidy is about as credible as a crackhead. There, I said it. Kerry Cassidy's been peddling fake stories about aliens and UFOs and all manner of things since she began. She has no credibility. She uses sources like convicted child molesters and convicted murderers talking about aliens as some sort of proof, right? So, upon Mark McCandlish's tragic suicide, stupid people like Kerry Cassidy, I shouldn't call her stupid. Let's just say less than credible people like Kerry Cassidy, along with Robert Morningstar and a few lesser-known conspiracy land characters, started pushing a theory that Mark McCandlish had been murdered. They also included in their conspiracy land fantasy stories, which I believe were concocted and invented purely to get clicks and views. They claimed in their conspiracy land fairy tales that Mark McCandlish died of a shotgun blast to the head. We called the local coroner. We spoke to the investigative police officer who originally investigated this tragic suicide and discovered Mark's body and everything else. And we dispelled most of the conspiracy land rumors that people like Kerry Cassidy of Project Scam-A-Lot and Robert Morningstar were peddling. I considered that a public service. I did not know Mark McCandlish well. I spoke to him on the phone half a dozen times, always requesting an interview, and he always told me that he was trying to, remain private and not so public anymore. And so while he wouldn't grant me a public interview, he did let me ask him questions and talk to him half a dozen times. Each time I called him, it was to ask for an interview that I would never get. And, but I respected his wishes, and he allowed me to ask him many, many questions. And someday maybe I will talk in more detail about that. I have detailed notes from each conversation that I had with him because he wouldn't allow me to record the phone calls, but I take notes. I have a very unclicky, quiet keyboard at home that I use just for that purpose. So Robert Morningstar, Kerry Cassidy, and others began spreading these ridiculous rumors, and the rumors went something like the Men in Black killed him, the government killed him, the CIA killed him, and they all made ridiculous claims like he would never kill himself, he wasn't depressed, he wasn't suicidal. But throughout the course of investigating this man's tragic death, I found many different sources very close to him who confirmed for me that Mark McCandlish was clinically depressed. Not just depressed, but clinically depressed. That means he'd been diagnosed with clinical depression by a medical doctor. Even I was told by someone very close to him that he was on medication for major depression. Another source told me that Mark McCandlish, for at least the past 2 or 3 years, was having a horrible, horrible time just trying to make ends meet and, pay his rent and pay his bills and keep afloat. He was having tremendous, tremendous financial difficulties. Mark McCandlish talked about this himself in one interview previous to his death, commenting on the fact that his previous profession, which was to be an aircraft illustrator, was largely destroyed by CGI. People did not want hand-drawn illustrations on the covers of magazines anymore. Everybody was using computers, and for whatever reason, Mark never learned that as a skill. He hand drew everything the old-fashioned way, with pencils and rulers and pens and ink. So it's very tragic that this man kind of lost his career because of the march of technology. But one can easily see how losing your entire career, and he had a great career, friends. His artwork was on the cover of major national publications for years in the 80s and even into the early 90s. I believe it's a Popular Mechanics magazine where he did an illustration of a NASA space plane concept that was in talks and development and prototyping, but never quite made it to be a real aircraft. So tragically, Mark McCandlish was very depressed, and he was having major, major financial problems. So it's not a stretch to say that a man who is clinically depressed, who has major financial problems, may decide to end his own life. It's tragic, but these things happen. I suppose that my own interest in these people spreading rumors was because I noticed that nobody was standing up and saying, let's investigate if any of these rumors are true. Let's talk to the police. Let's talk to the coroner. Nobody did that. Kerry Cassidy didn't do that. No, she just went on her live stream telling people that he blew his brains out with a double shotgun blast to the head. And how does that happen? That didn't happen. The CIA must have shot him in the head with a shotgun. All of these things, all of the things that both Robert Morningstar, and Kerry Cassidy have said are completely and totally factually inaccurate. Now, we've even had Joseph P. Farrell do a blog post about it, and he refused to take the blog post down, but he did link to our video and said something like, I'm more inclined to believe this gentleman because he's done adequate research. But, you know, the damage is already done, Mr. Farrell, Joseph P. Farrell. You've already helped spread the garbage that he was killed by the men in black because he was too, you know, he was about to spill the beans about the aliens. Another point that Robert Morningstar and Kerry Cassidy made is that he was set to testify before Congress right before he ended up dead, and the men in black must have killed him to prevent him. Well, what they said specifically was that he was in contact with Senator Marco Rubio's office and that he was going to testify to Senator Marco Rubio and Congress about alien reproduction vehicles and what the government really has and so forth. We did an exhaustive investigation. We contacted Marco Rubio's office. We contacted other members of Congress who are known for their familiarity or interest in UFOs or UAP. And Mark McCandlish did not contact any senator's office. He didn't contact Marco Rubio's office. He wasn't scheduled to testify anywhere for any congressman or senator. That was a complete and total fabrication made up by Kerry Cassidy and Robert Morningstar to get clicks and views. And, you know, boy, I could say a lot about those two, but mostly what I will say is I will remind them that Mark McCandlish, whatever you think of him, was a human being. A human being. I don't know very much about his family situation, but I do know that he had a very long-term girlfriend who ran an animal shelter where he worked. And he worked with her for the past several years, helping injured animals and, you know, lost animals, animals that nobody wanted, an animal shelter. So Mark was a human being. He had people that cared about him. And I have become aware of many, many of his close friends who have contacted me since our first two reports on his tragic suicide. He was a human being. He had friends. He had family that cared about him. And none of them, Kerry Cassidy, Robert Morningstar, or any of you other idiots that are out there spreading these conspiracy land false stories would want you doing that. They would want you to let the man rest in peace. But that's not something that somebody like Kerry Cassidy would do. After all, this is a woman that uses court-martialed child molesters and convicted murderers who've been in prison for 38 years as sources to her alien stories. One can easily assume that Kerry Cassidy has zero ethics. So not only will she use fake sources, she'll just invent fake stories about people who tragically committed suicide and ended their own lives. Why would she do that? Why did you do that, Kerry Cassidy? Do you really need the clicks and views that bad? You're demonetized. You're deplatformed. You're not even allowed on YouTube because of the level of garbage information and fake information that she spread for the past couple of years. But no, Kerry Cassidy takes that as a badge of honor, as if getting thrown off YouTube for telling the truth, right? You weren't telling the truth. You were lying to people. That's why you got pulled from YouTube. So she's off on her, website behind a paywall, but she's still posting things publicly. And this Mark McCandlish story is one that she posted publicly. Now, throughout my investigation, we've done previous two episodes. You can see on our YouTube channel here our previous two episodes concerning this. I consider this important work. I went to the ends of the earth to either prove or disprove Kerry Cassidy and Robert Morningstar and these other people were peddling lies or not. And I'm here to tell you everything that Robert Morningstar said, everything that Kerry Cassidy said, and others repeated, like Dr. Joseph P. Farrell, was a complete and total fabrication and a lie. Nothing that they said was actually true. He was not in contact with Senator Marco Rubio's office or any other senator that we could find. He was not set to testify anywhere. In fact, Jeremy Rice, alien scientist, commented that he just spent, 4 hours on a live stream explaining everything he knew about this vehicle. Why would they kill him? Why would somebody kill him when everything that he knew about this so-called alien reproduction vehicle was already out on the internet? He had no smoking gun evidence or proof left to show the world. He'd been talking about this thing since 1988, right? There was nothing that he hadn't disclosed, that he knew. So there'd be no reason for somebody to suicide him, as was claimed by these conspiracy land idiots. Now, we talked to the coroner. We talked to the girl. I'm sorry, I did not speak directly to the actual coroner. I spoke to the girl who runs the coroner's office in Shasta County. And so she informs me, no, it wasn't a shotgun. And then I talked to the investigating officer who said, no, it wasn't a shotgun. It was a handgun that we found him with. But there's more details here. So I asked for the coroner's report. This is a public document. Anybody can get it. This is a Truthseekers exclusive. As far as I know, nobody else bothered to go get the coroner's report. I did that. And we're going to share it tonight. And I just want to mention that, again, this man is a human being with friends and family that cared about him. And I don't think sharing this is really, helpful to his reputation, given the state that they found his home in. There were some things, and we'll get into this report and you'll see, things in his home were in disarray. So it's not my intention to embarrass him or his friends or his family, because there are certainly some things in that coroner's report that don't paint him in a good light. But we have to remember that this man was clinically depressed, suffering from major financial problems, and suicidal. So also, I am going to, I did not put it in the video description, but as soon as the broadcast ends, I have put this coroner's report on my Google Drive, and I will be posting a link to it in the video description so that anybody can read this report and know the truth. I've said it time and time again, friends, the hallmark of a good researcher who has good facts and evidence is that anybody can go after them and find the same facts and evidence. So anybody can call the coroner's office and verify that the report that I'm posting to my Google Drive is the real, genuine coroner's report from Shasta County. And, I'd encourage anybody who is skeptical of the claims that we're going to make or present tonight, or the evidence that we're going to present, then you do what I did. Call the local Shasta County coroner's office. Call the Shasta County police. Talk to the investigating officer like I did. And once you do, friends, you're going to know that the conspiracy land fairy tales that were being peddled by unethical people like Kerry Cassidy and Robert Morningstar, and maybe Joseph P. Farrell repeating them, and others repeating these stories, are complete and total fabricated lies. And like I said, anybody can go after me. Do the same research, you'll get the same result. That, my friends, to me, has always been one indicator of the truth. So, and I got to mention that I've been in possession of this report for more than a week, but I've been kind of dreading this. I take the only pleasure I take in this is that at least we can honor the memory of this man and stop people from profiting from his tragic death. And again, I just want to say, like, what kind of person goes, oh, that guy killed himself and he was into UFOs? You know what? We can invent a story about the Men in Black murdering him, right? And we can get lots of clicks and views. Who does that? What kind of person does that? Well, apparently Kerry Cassidy is the kind of person that does that. Robert Morningstar is the kind of person that does that. And there have been others. I hear that Richard Hoagland was going to do a whole show on this, but he thought better of it after seeing some of our research. And I want to thank a mutual friend. I don't know Richard Hoagland, but we have a mutual friend who said, hey, Richard Hoagland, you might not want to go there because that story is false and fake, right? All right, let me get this queued. Okay, I do have it here. And like I said, I am going to share this in the video description so that anybody can read this and get the same information that I'm sharing tonight with you all. All right, and this is from the Shasta County Sheriff. And the coroner is Eric McGreeny. And this is the case number. In the matter of the death of Mark Edward McCandlish, a 68-year-old male, I, Logan Stonehouse, Chief Deputy Coroner, have inquired into the circumstances of death and do certify that he was declared deceased on the 13th day of April 2021. I'm sorry, they give the address where he was found dead, which was his home. The death was caused by gunshot wound of the head. Other significant conditions, none. Manner of death was suicide. Philip Wacker, Deputy Coroner, conducted the investigation and established the identity of the decedent. A postmortem examination was conducted by Dr. Dan Putzer, MD, pathologist. All right, so and here it just mentions that there were who was there at the autopsy, and that would be Phil Wacker. The cause of death of this elderly white male is central nervous system damage caused by self-inflicted gunshot wound to the head. Now, I got to tell you that I'm sure conspiracy land, fantasies and rumors are still going to go rampant, but I trust a coroner to know if there's foul play or not. And as we get further into this report, we'll see that there is ample and supportive evidence that he killed himself. Tragic, but that's the truth. The man was depressed, he was having financial problems, and he shot himself in the head, tragically. There's no Men in Black here. There's no CIA surveillance teams or suicide teams or murder squads, There's no super soldier sneaking in the middle of the night, right? None of that. The external examination is authorized by Eric McGreeny, Sheriff Coroner of Shasta County. The body was that of an elderly white male who appears his stated age of 68 years. The body measures 6 feet in length, 200 pounds. The body is clad in red and gray sweatshirt, gray long sleeve shirt, white t-shirt, tan sweatpants, and white underwear. Palpation and visual examination of the skull shows it to be covered by very short gray hair. There is obvious entrance wound located 1 centimeter above the right ear. It measured 15 centimeters in diameter. The edges of the entrance wound have powder burns. Above the left ear is an exit wound measuring 1.5 centimeters in diameter. It has destroyed part of the tip of the ear. Brain matter extrudes outside the hole. Skull fracture is not obvious. Examination of the blue eyes reveals pupils that are equal in diameter at 4 millimeter. Examination of the nose reveals a small amount of blood. Examination of the mouth reveals a small amount of blood. Examination of the neck reveals no, boy, I'm not even going to try to say that, lymphadenopathy or obvious cervical fracture. Examination of the chest and abdomen is unremarkable. Upper extremities unremarkable. Genitalia unremarkable. Lower extremities unremarkable. Back and anus unremarkable. Due to the obvious cause of death, internal examination is not performed. Okay, so here we get 68-year-old male decedent was found unresponsive with an apparent self-inflicted through gunshot wound to the head. There was a note left in the office. He is right-handed. Per landlord and friend, he had been depressed for years. There's some other important information in here that would support the fact that this is tragic, but simply a suicide and nothing more conspiratorial than that. Okay, so the location they found him was a dwelling. The body position was supine on bed. Yeah. There was blood from the head. And they check. There was a suicide note. Where it was found was in the office of his residence. A 2-page suicide note, by the way. Okay, and here's where we get into more relevant, important information. Kerry Cassidy, Robert Morningstar, and these other UFO hucksters, really deplorable, disgusting people running around trying to profit off the tragic death and suicide of a man, said in their blog posts, in their podcast, that Mark McCandlish died of a shotgun blast to the head. That's factually inaccurate. Here, right on the coroner's report, subject shot himself with a 9mm Sig Sauer P226 pistol. So there we have it. It was a handgun, not a double shotgun blast to the head, as the conspiracy hucksters would have you believe. And his next of kin was his brother, Kevin McCandlish. And there's some witnesses. Yeah, and here we see he did have a daughter. He had a brother. Hey, Kerry Cassidy, how do you think his brother and his daughter feel about you trying to make YouTube pennies off his tragic suicide? How do you think they feel about you doing that? I want you to think about that, Kerry Cassidy. I want you to think about that, Robert Morningstar. How would your family feel if somebody ran out to YouTube, start making up fake stories about you after you, God forbid, killed yourself? All right, and this is from the investigating officer. On Tuesday, 4/13 at 17:45 hours, I received a call from Shascom reporting the death of 68-year-old male located at, and we're going to go past this. We don't want to give the address. Sorry if you did see that. I should have blacked this out. Apologize for that. I arrived on scene at 18:12 hours. It was sunny and cloudy outside, warm and dry weather. The residence was light-colored, one-story, single-family home. He met Corporal Townsley in the driveway of the residence. He directed me towards the main entrance of the residence, which was located on the east side of the home. The windows to the residence and the front door were covered with dark paper. There was a strong ammonia odor outside the front door of the residence, and that could be because he had many, many cats. I don't know if they were from the animal rescue that he worked or what, but Corporal Townsley and I entered the residence through the front door. The odor continued into the residence and throughout the entire residence. To the left of the doorway in the south side of the residence, the living room area, there were multiple plastic animal carriers and plastic bins on the cement floor. There were multiple piles of animal feces covering the living room floor. Beyond the doorway to the west side of the residence was dining room and kitchen. There were multiple plastic animal litter boxes, etc. Okay. Let's skip some of this. There were multiple plastic animal litter boxes on the dining room floor filled with feces. There were multiple dining plates and food particles and pails of water residue on the dining room floor. There were multiple empty feline feline canned food, and beds covering the kitchen floor and kitchen counters. There were multiple feces piles covering the kitchen and dining floors. To the right of the doorway was a wall that led to a hallway, which led to the north side of the residence. There were multiple feces piles along the hallway floor. So, apparently he had many, many animals and wasn't cleaning up very much. I don't know. Somebody that's depressed, I guess, doing housework is not on their list of things to do. There were 2 bedrooms along the left side of the hallway and west side of the residence, with the second bedroom having an attached bathroom. In the bedroom with the attached bathroom were multiple prescription medications on the bedroom bathroom. In the bedroom, multiple prescriptions. The medications were, I'm not going to try to say that. You can see a list of medications. One of them here is hydrocodone, which of course is I think one of these, I looked these up, and I'm sorry, but I'm here at the cabin, not at my home office. One of these is, I believe, an antidepressant. I will clarify that on our next show, just to be sure. These are multiple medications for multiple different things. One being hydrocodone is a powerful painkiller. Yeah. In the bedroom with the attached bathroom on the desk was a double-sided note, which appeared to be handwritten and signed by the decedent, documenting in detail who gets the decedent's property, resembling the last will and testament. At the end of the hallway was a bathroom. There was multiple feces piles covering the bathroom floor, litter boxes filled with feces in the bathtub, empty feline canned food in the bathroom sink. To the right of the bathroom was additional hallway which led to the garage on the east side of the residence. On the left side and north side of the second hallway was a bedroom. On the right side of the second hallway, towards the middle of the residence, was a bedroom. The bedrooms were unorganized and cluttered with personal property. The residence was unkept and appeared to be in renovation, with flooring, floorboards, paint, and siding all missing. There were multiple animals scratching and biting damage to all the walls and doors to the residence. The decedent was located in the first bedroom along the hallway closest to the doorway. I entered the bedroom through the doorway. To the right of the doorway was the right wall and north side of the room. There was a mattress leaning against a bookshelf with personal belongings cluttered around the right wall. The wall across from the doorway had a window. Underneath the window was a bed with the head of the bed angled to the left wall and south side of the room, to the foot of the bed angled towards the right wall and north side of the room. There was a box to the left of the head of the bed which had a CPAP machine. To the left of the doorway was a pile of clothing and personal property cluttering the floor, and to the left of the doorway on the east side wall was a closet. The room was unkept and cluttered with personal property and clothing. The decedent was located on the bed covered with a blue sheet. There was saturated blood on the sheet at the head of the bed. There was a hole in the sheet with the saturated blood. The decedent's right arm was bent at the elbow, with his right hand resting on top of the sheet on what appeared to be his abdomen region, pointing westward towards the wall across from the doorway. There was saturated blood on multiple pillows at the head of the bed. Upon removal of the sheet, I observed the decedent resting in the supine body position, wearing a red-gray sweatshirt, gray long-sleeve shirt, white t-shirt, tan sweatpants, and white underwear. The decedent's head was resting on the saturated pillows at the head of the bed, face up and slightly tilted to the left. There was a large, I think they mean amount of coagulated blood protruding from the descendant's right temple region from what appeared to be a contact entrance wound. The blood continued in a downward angle towards his right ear and then to the pillow. There was coagulated blood protruding from the descendant's mouth in a downward angle towards his chin and neck region. There was coagulated blood protruding from what appeared to be an exit wound on the left side of his face, in a downward angle to the pillow and mattress. The decedent's torso and lower extremities were resting flat on the bed, with his feet pointing northward to the right wall of the room. The decedent's left arm was resting flat on the bed, with his left hand in a clenched fist next to his left hip and pointing northward. The decedent's rigor mortis was moderate, and his body was cool to the touch. The lividity was consistent with a supine body position. No other injury or trauma were noted to the decedent's person. I removed a 9mm projectile from the lower west side wall across from the doorway in the downward direction to the left side of the decedent's head. On Tuesday, 4/13/2021, while on scene, I spoke with Corporal Townsley, who confirmed the aforementioned statements with the added information in the summary. The decedent, Mark McCandlish, date of birth 3/25/1953, was found unresponsive with an apparent self-inflicted gunshot wound to the head in the supine body position, covered with a sheet on the bed by his landlord. Corporal Townsley informed me that the officer Lobsinger removed the firearm from the decedent's right hand, which was on top of the sheet on the right side of the decedent's head region. Officer Lobsinger rendered the firearm safe and then secured the firearm into an RPD patrol vehicle. Corporal Townsley mentioned that the decedent left a voicemail with his landlord on Tuesday, 4/13 at 13:10 hours, stating that he was going to kill himself. So, to the people that say Mark McCandlish didn't kill himself, I just want to mention, if you're not going to kill yourself, you generally don't call your landlord and let them know you're going to kill yourself. You generally don't write a 2-page suicide note and last will and testament telling everybody who gets what property, unless you're going to kill yourself. Tragic as it may be. And listen, I understand that some people were very close to Mark, and I had a very close friend kill themselves. And for a long time, I didn't believe it. I did not believe they would do it, right? Because I didn't want to believe that they would do it. I thought there was foul play. I thought somebody killed them and staged it as a suicide. Later, I came to accept it once I learned more. And I can only hope that the people that are running around leaving YouTube comments and tweeting at me that Mark didn't kill himself may look at the evidence that we have here on hand and change their opinion, or come to some peace on what has happened to your friend. And listen, I have a great deal of empathy for anybody. I had a close friend commit suicide. It's terrible, and you don't want to believe it. Okay. On Tuesday, 4/13/2021, while on scene, I spoke with the decedent's landlord, Carrie Peterman, who confirmed the aforementioned statements with the added information. In summary, the decedent was in the military and was being medically treated by the VA. He had been emotionally unstable for years, with everything happening with his personal life, work, and the current pandemic. On Wednesday, 4/14, I spoke with the decedent's brother via telephone call. Kevin last heard from the decedent via an email about a week prior. He had mentioned being depressed for some time and about everything going on in the world and in his own personal life. He didn't elaborate. The decedent talked about having to relocate because the residence he was living in was going to be put on the market to sell. On Wednesday, 4/14, I spoke with the decedent's friend, Vince Leonel, via telephone call. The last time Vince had spoken with the decedent was about a week prior. The decedent had mentioned that he was not happy with his current girlfriend relationship and his occupation. He never mentioned depression and suicide. On Thursday, 5/6, Veterans Affairs called to confirm the decedent's death and to inform SCSO Coroner's Office that he had been in the behavioral health treatment program for depression with suicidal tendencies. Yeah, and he had no criminal history. We have a medical records. He had been diagnosed with several different, health conditions. PA statement. PA department replied to my request with possible contact information for the decedent's sibling. So, what do you know? Right in Pennsylvania, I guess his brother lives in Pennsylvania. The decedent was identified by his landlord, who was on the scene. While on scene, RPD Officer Lopsinger rendered the decedent's used firearm safe. The firearm was a 9mm Sig Sauer P226 pistol. So again, these conspiracy land rumors that Mark McCandlish died by shotgun blast to the head, completely and totally factually inaccurate. It was a 9mm handgun, stated right here in the coroner's office. While on scene, I took several photos of the decedent and surrounding area. The decedent was placed in a body bag secured in the coroner's vehicle and transported to the coroner's office. I collected the 9mm projectile from the bedroom the decedent was located in. The projectile was placed into an evidence box and secured into the SCO coroner's vehicle. The projectile was booked into the and that's Shasta County Coroner's Office, Crime ID Lab as evidence. On 4/13, I collected the decedent's handwritten note found on scene. The note was secured in the coroner's vehicle. The note was placed in the coroner's case file. Upon arrival to the coroner's office, I'm sorry, one second. So they collected his medications and took them as evidence. Upon arrival to the coroner's office, the decedent was assigned this case number and the tow tag was attached. That's depressing. While at the SCSO morgue, additional identification was made by DCI Whacker using the decedent's California driver's license. Blood was drawn from the femoral artery, collected in one gray top tube and placed in refrigeration. Notification was made of the decedent's brother, Kevin, via telephone call from the DCI Whacker. The decedent's Spillman case was updated. Based on examination and investigation, manner was determined to be suicide. So really, there we have it, friends. There we have it. Whoa, I missed. I'm sorry. I was in the other thing there. I was really focused on reading this. You guys will have to apologize, but if I have to read something, it's got to be big, right? Because you guys know that I have some vision issues. All right, so there we go. And I want to recognize kind and generous donation. Rogue status of $20. You'll still have it. Just quit already, would you? Nobody likes this show. Leave it to a friend of mine from Philadelphia to bust my balls, but I will let you bust my balls all you want, Rogue Status, as long as you give me $20 every time you bust my balls. That's my new fee. It costs $20 to bust my balls. But no, thank you for your kindness, your generosity, and your support. I certainly do appreciate it. Longtime show supporter and live chat participant. Very kind, very, very generous of you. And it seems kind of wrong to do this, considering we're talking about a man's tragic suicide. But we still do. You know, life goes on, and you have to praise the cash. So this is for Rogue Status, and you know, praise the cash, Rogue Status.
You're watching Truthseekers. Praise the cash, praise the cash.
So thank you, Rogue Status. I thank you. My family thanks you. You know, I'm getting shaken down by that little clown, because he put on YouTube and he was trying to like, oh, can I see what happens when you play that? Do people like me being a clown? And I go, oh yeah, Xavier. My son's name is Xavier, by the way, and he volunteered to help us praise the cash by being the cash clown. But now he wants to know what his cut of the super chat money is, because, you know, he's the cash clown. He should get a cut. So some of this money is going to be going towards, I would say, superheroes. That's his big thing, superheroes. So here we have it, friends. We have the actual coroner's report stating he wasn't killed with a shotgun blast to the head. No, it was a 9mm pistol. He was depressed. Various people told the coroner and the police that he was depressed. He calls his landlord to tell his landlord he's going to commit suicide shortly before he does it, and he leaves a 2-page suicide note. To me, any death is tragic. A suicide, to me, is even more tragic. But the real tragedy, besides his death, was the disgusting, deplorable degenerates out there on the internet, like Robert Morningstar and Kerry Cassidy, spreading all this fake information, trying to make money off this man's tragic suicide by peddling fake conspiracy land stories that were completely and totally fabricated. Nothing those guys talked about was real. So, yeah, Reemsy, I guess I got, from what I got, Reemsy, is that he left a message with his landlord, hung up the phone, went to his bedroom, and then committed suicide like minutes after he left the message. And then, so, yeah, I guess tragically there was no time for help or for the landlord to go and try to intervene, you know, because certainly if somebody's calling you, telling you they're going to commit suicide, most humans would go and try to help them, right? I sure would. Yes, FGraph72 says superhero toy fund. Yeah, let's hope not a huge percentage. Daddy needs some toys too, FGraph72. So, you know, I've been dreading doing this, but I'm glad that we got this out of the way. I am going to share the coroner's report. Actually, you know what? Before I say I'm going to do this and then I don't do it, here's what I'm going to do. I am going to go in there right now before I forget, and I am going to share the coroner's report. So just bear with me. It's going to be all right, I'm going to put it right here. I'm just going to put coroner's report. All right. All right. And now it's there. So if you would like a copy of this coroner's report, for whatever reason, it will be in the video description down below. And you too can find out that what I'm telling you is completely and totally factually accurate. We do our homework here. We do our due diligence. Others deal in fairy tales. We deal with facts and evidence whenever possible, right? So, like I said, anybody can go after me and find out that what I'm saying is accurate because you too can get the same exact information. Okay, Melissa is here. Good to see you, Melissa. Most people don't get how suicide and depression works. When I was 13, a good friend did it. She was 13, was top on school, played soccer, and sang in a band. One day, got home and shot herself. Yeah, I mean, I had a friend of mine's wife that she hung herself, and she was young and rich and beautiful, and most people would have assumed or thought that she was happy and not depressed or not suicidal, of course. One day he just came home and found that she hung herself. It's really, a tragedy. Some people suffer in silence and they don't give the normal warning signs that other people would. But in the case of Mark McCandlish here, we have him literally getting treated at the VA for suicidal depression. So, people running around and saying, he wasn't suicidal. He was being treated at the local VA for suicidal depression, for depression and suicidal thoughts. He was taking medication for depression. He was telling others that he was depressed. People told the police that he was depressed and somewhat despondent over his current situation. I heard from multiple sources he had many financial problems. We heard in this coroner's report that he wasn't happy with his girlfriend or his employment currently. I believe he was working for his girlfriend at a animal rescue. It was a long time ago. But it's still think about it sometimes. And you know what I always think? When somebody commits suicide, I always think, how many good things could they have done with the rest of their lives if they didn't do that, right? It's tragic. And I don't know. I've been really depressed at one point in time, all around Arbiter, but the thought of doing that never entered my mind, and especially now being a father and a husband, there's no problem on earth that would cause me to want to check out. None. Whatever happens, and I'll try to deal with it. But Steve Ronan, yes, people sometimes pretend until they can't anymore. Yeah, and I've heard various stories of people almost being jubilant before they commit suicide because they've made the decision and they know that their pain's going to end soon, so that they're almost they're almost happy before they do it, which is a crazy thing to think about. So, considering the warning signs, and I just want to mention to anybody who's struggling with depression, especially if you're feeling suicidal, there are places you can go. Please do get help. Don't suffer in silence. There are, I have one friend that was really, really clinically suicidally depressed. And he finally got on the right meds, and he was fine after he got on the right meds. Some people just need a little bit of brain chemistry adjustment and they could be okay. This is not to say that, taking pills is going to undepress you. I think if you're suffering, and again, I'm not a mental health professional, seek a mental health professional, but I would think that, you can't just take a pill. Maybe counseling, psychotherapy, other forms of therapy along with medication might be beneficial. Just goes to show you, never judge a book by its cover, never know what's going on in someone's head. Yeah, I agree with you. And wow, I'm sorry, that ice machine's really loud. We have a tabletop ice machine here because we have this little sort of like college-size fridge, like college dorm room size fridge. And it's only got a freezer in it this big, And yeah, so I apologize for that noise. Next time I'll know to shut that thing off when I'm in here. And I'm here in the cabin kitchen, actually, not living room for a change. I rushed here. I didn't even get to eat anything. So I suffered through this show with no dinner. I'm looking forward to, this is a crazy funny thing, and this is a crazy guilty pleasure. One of my favorite meals in the universe is Hungry Man fried chicken. It's almost as good as KFC, right? And I got two of them bad boys because, I'm 6'4", probably 200 pounds right now. So one of those Hungry Man dinners isn't going to do it. You need two. So I'm very happy because after the show, I get to get my fried chicken on. It's so stupid, right? My wife makes fun of me. She's like, really? This garbage? This is one of your favorite meals? I'm like, it's delicious. Yeah, Hungry Man fried chicken dinner is delicious. It's your fault for being addicted to ice. Yeah, exactly. Well, I drink nothing but iced tea. I don't drink soda. I drink nothing but tea. That's all I drink. In the morning, I drink hot tea, Melissa. My mother, growing up, we didn't really like, my father drank coffee, but nobody else did. She gave us tea. So I grew up drinking tea every morning. And I still do. I drink hot tea every morning. Sometimes I have Earl Grey. Most of the time, I just have regular old, whatever you call it, like black pico, normal, whatever they make. Now I got to go look at the box. I don't know. Regular tea. Most of the time, I just drink the regular tea that Americans, But sometimes I drink the fancy stuff. Like I have English breakfast tea here, and I have some Earl Grey tea, and maybe we have some of those herbal teas, right? Reemsey says, very hungry. Yeah. Me too. I didn't eat anything today. I tried to eat a bag of chips, and then my son, I gave him some chips, and then we have this variety pack. So then I had the different chips. I can't remember, but he had like regular Doritos, and I had Cool Ranch Doritos, and he ate his real fast. Then he comes to me and goes, Dad, that's the last bag of those. And I go, do you want them? And he goes, yeah. So I give him this little bag of chips. I can't even eat a bag of chips. My kids, they're like vultures. And forget drinks. I've been thirsty since my son was born, my first son. He sees you with a drink, he just comes over and grabs it. Like, thanks for the soda, Dad, or whatever you're drinking, right? Terry Joyce likes that meal too. Fried chicken, yum. Eat them often. Yeah, I don't know what it is. It was probably growing up a starving artist and eating so many ramen noodles, right? Oh, fried chicken, yum. Jeannie's ass. That's a strange thing. Says I eat them often. Yeah, I think for me, it was growing up a starving artist and always eating ramen noodles and spaghetti. That when there was a day that you got some meat, that was a good day. And there used to be like those Hungry Man dinners was my go-to. Like if I had a couple extra bucks that week and could eat something other than ramen noodles, right? And canned soup. I sure don't miss being poor, but I'll tell you what, my wife cooks so good that I'm putting on weight. And this pandemic has not been good for me. I've always been super thin. And I think it's a combination of too much beer and too much comfort food, like her mac and cheese and all these delicious meals that she makes. Now she's back to work and I'm cooking every day. So I probably lose weight because I don't cook nearly as good as her. I'm working on it though. I keep trying to learn. Yeah, love Lipton's. I think that's yeah. When I do have to drink bottled tea, I think this is Lipton, right? That's what I drink when I have to drink bottled. But mostly I make homemade with lemon and sugar, AJ. So I'm glad that you could all join us here. I wanted to take some time to read this coroner's report, try to set the record straight for the benefit of the memory of Mr. McCandlish and his friends, his family, his relatives. And I want to encourage you, friends, if you see somebody like Kerry Cassidy or Robert Morningstar, if you see them spouting these lies, link them to this video. Put a reply to their video talking smack and giving people fantasy fairy tales and link this video so that people can honestly hear the truth. And then, it's important to me. I didn't know this man well, but I did feel a strange sort of, I felt a duty. Like, somebody's got to do this. Somebody's got to tell people the truth. All these people are out there profiting from this tragic man's suicide. It's crazy. All around Arbiter. This is crazy. Celestial Seasonings tea has ties to a cult. I've never heard that in my life. That's crazy. Really? I think my wife has some of that stuff. I think we have some of that here at the cabin. We have cult tea at the cabin all around Arbiter. That's crazy. Yeah. And I also wanted to mention, people ask me, like, what's going on with your schedule? How come there wasn't a show yesterday? And listen, I'm always honest with my audience. I'm going to tell you the honest to God truth. These children are killing me. They're kicking my ass. And I have to get up early now. When my wife was working from home, I could get up at noon. She didn't care. She took care of the kids until I got up, right? But now that she's going to work at 8 o'clock, I got to be up. So I'm having a real hard time. And anybody that's ever, spent any time with two boys, especially, I guess girls are just as hard, but these kids are like, every time I sit down, like, right, they want something, I get it for them, then I sit down, Daddy, I want cookies. So then I got to get up and get them the cookies. 5 minutes later, Daddy, I need a drink. I'm thirsty. So then I got to get up. I just spend my whole day doing laps to the kitchen. I'm the snack bitch. That's it. That's what I am for these children. I'm the guy that gets them the drinks, the snacks, and their meals, right? And I'm very popular when I have food for them, right? And these two kids, they eat like horses. They really eat like horses. They're always grazing. They got to have chips. Now we want to, can we have some cookies? Can we have some milk with the cookies? The other one starts asking for milkshakes. I'm like, what do you think? I could just whip up a milkshake right here, or, chocolate milk, strawberry milk, whatever. It's never easy. But I didn't realize how good I had it while my wife was home, because I could sleep till noon or 1 p.m., whatever, and then I could get up, and I still felt pretty rested by 9 or 10 o'clock at night to do the show. But now, if I got to get up at 8 or 9 o'clock in the morning, by the time 9 o'clock comes, I'm like, oh man, I can't do a 2-hour show. I just don't have it in me. But I'm going to try to convince my 5-year-old that nap time is a good idea. Because if I could get a nap in, like in the afternoon, I'd be all right. So I'm trying to adjust to this new schedule and the more responsibility with the children, which I'm not complaining about. I'm their father. It's just it's a shock to the system when I have not been solely responsible for them all day for more than a year. My wife has been home, and now that she's gone, oh man. And yeah, it's been pretty rough, but I'm adjusting. I'm I don't know. I'm trying to take the younger one on some errands and things. Like, we went to the store, but that always turns into, let's go to a toy store, Daddy, and then that's $40 every time I take him with me. So I don't know if running errands with him is a good idea, right? All right, so we're going to do some shout outs. I don't know how far back we can go, but shout out to Rogue Status, who was our sole benefactor tonight with a kind and generous $20 super chat donations, busting my balls, saying nobody likes this show. And for those that don't know, he's from Philly. I'm from Philly. That's how Philly guys express, affection. If I bust your balls, it means I like you. So I don't take offense. Somebody once emailed me when you said something nasty, Rogue Status, like, who's that guy? F that guy. They didn't realize you're just busting balls. So shout out to Rogue Status. Shout out to Reemsey. Welcome to the show. Shout out to Lee Veltman. Welcome to the show. Shout out to the Ice Machine, who is making their appearance. Shout out to Melissa. Steve Ronan is here. Tim Elf is here. FGraph72 is here. Charles from Project Camelot is here. All Around Arbiter is here. Reemsey. I saw... Oh, Reemsey with I thought there's Reemsey with a kind and generous $5 super sticker. Thank you for your kindness, your generosity, and your support, especially your continued support. Reemsey is a longtime show supporter, always throwing us a couple of bucks, which I truly, truly appreciate. Thank you for your kindness, your generosity, and your support, Reemsey, and thank you for helping us to praise the cash, friends.
Praise the cash, praise the cash, praise the cash.
Other people say cash cow. We don't have a cash cow. We have a cash clown that helps us to praise the cash. So shout out to Reemsey and welcome to the show, and thank Reemsey for their generosity and their support. Karen Conley is here. Yeah, and I agree with her statement. Thank you for calling them out. Truly disgusting. Yeah, there's some things that set me off, and this was one of them, Karen Conley. But welcome to the show. Thank you for your kind comments. All around Arbiter is here. Melissa is here. If I call you out twice, I apologize. This gets rough. We can only go so far back. Miss Peach is here. Welcome to the show. The Genie's Ass is here. Welcome to the show. I saw Out of Context CW Channer was here earlier. Welcome them to the show. Down Jones Muller is here. We mentioned Rogue Status was here. Not My Rabbit Hole with Terry Joyce. It's not my rabbit hole. It's Terry Joyce's rabbit hole. Go subscribe over there. She likes fried chicken as well. Oh, man. I'm going to eat me some delicious fried chicken after this. And I'm going to cook it in a wood stove, Terry Joyce. So it's better than a microwave. It's much better if you have the time. Give it the half hour in the oven. And I'm cooking it in a wood oven. So, yeah. We mentioned Steve Ronan. We mentioned AJ is here. We mentioned Lee Veltman. Welcome to the show. Jolly Bridge Burner is here. Welcome to the show. Jonaside is here. Welcome to the show. Okay. Did I get everybody? I think we got everybody. If I missed you, just say hi in the live chat. PBR Street Gang is here. Welcome to the show. Yeah, I'm ashamed of Carrie Cassidy and the crazy S she spouts. The Morningstar guy is just another grifter. Yeah, he seems to be an equal opportunity grifter because he also grifts on psychic stuff and remote viewing and stuff like that. He's not just a UFO con artist. Apparently, he's a multi-subject con artist. So good for Robert Morningstar. And by the way, both Robert Morningstar and Carrie Cassidy are welcome to come on the show, and we can talk about their story versus my story. Their fantasy, fairy tale, no factual evidence included with their ridiculous, fantastical claims. Or we can talk about my story, which, I talked to the coroner's office. I talked to the investigative officer who found Mark McCandlish unresponsive and deceased and did the investigation related to his suicide. I talked to the girl who runs the coroner's office. I got the coroner's report. We have facts and evidence, Carrie Cassidy and Robert Morningstar, and you have fantasies. Oh, FGraph72 says, I'm so flippin' broke. Well, now I'm not, because I got your $2, FGraph72, but thank you for your kindness, your generosity, and your support. It really does help. A longtime show supporter and continued support. I love the fact that people care enough to throw a couple of bucks in the hat and to keep us rolling along. Thank you, FGraph72, for your kindness, your generosity, and your support for blessing us and our show. I send you and yours blessings as well. Thank you for helping us to praise the cash, friends. Praise the cash.
Praise the cash, praise the cash, praise the cash.
Okay, and I just happened to see, let's see, V is here. V is here and working. Forgive me. You don't need to apologize to me. I'm always happy to see V. Longtime show supporter, thank you for showing up. All around Arbiter with a kind and generous $2 super chat. Again, a longtime show supporter. Really, really means a lot to me that people continue to send me money and help support the show. I do have I'm getting blurry like Bigfoot. I do have some plans all around Arbiter, and I'm going to be sharing them soon. But what I will say is that since we got monetized, I pretty much had everything that we need as far as equipment and things to run the show. So I've only spent very little of this money that's coming in. I pay the StreamYard, that's $20. I pay Spreaker, the $7. So our bills here for the show are about $30. I paid that out of the show money, but every other penny I'm saving for a very special thing. And I'll be making an announcement about that shortly. But I want everybody to know that every dime that comes here is going to a good cause to help the show. And this new planner idea that I have should help the show more than anything else I've done for the show, and is really going to be helpful. So thank everybody for their kindness, their generosity, and their support. And thank you for helping us to praise the cash, friends. So thank you, All Around Arbiter. Shout out to All Around Arbiter, big time show supporter. And All Around Arbiter is always retweeting things. So I want to mention, let me try to get that down. I want to mention that there's two big ways to support us. The first way, of course, is to throw money at me. We love it when people throw money at me. There's a money button down there. And you can send us any money you want, and YouTube will convert it for us. We take Mexican pesos, we take Canadian dollars, British pounds. We had NOK, which is like money from Norwegian money. I don't know. We take any money. There's a money button down there. Click the money button. Send us whatever amount you wish and whatever message. We read every single super chat and recognize every single super chat. Granted, failing that though, brother, can you spare $1? That's what we're out here asking. Brother, can you spare $1? And if not, there is another great way to help us. And that, of course, every good YouTuber will tell you this, is to like, comment, share, and subscribe. Hit the notification bell. Smash that like button. Leave us a comment. Leave us a thumbs up. Leave us a thumbs down. I don't care. All the YouTube algorithm cares about is engagement, right? If the engagement's good, YouTube is happy. So engage with us. I try to read all of the YouTube comments. I replied to many of them, as many as I can. It's getting pretty hairy in there lately. Yeah, and really, it does help us. Please like, comment, and subscribe, and send some of our video links to your friends. Share our channel link on your social media. And really, thanks to each and every person for helping us grow. I see your retweets. I see people sharing the show on Facebook. I see people do that, and you have my gratitude. It really does help the show. And I just want to mention that we did just reach a milestone, 2,000 subscribers, which I never thought I would see. I want to thank each and every one of you for helping us to get there. This was a group effort. It wasn't me. I didn't do very much. I was the host, but I'm not much of a show host without a great audience, and we have one of the best audiences here. Also, I want to remind everybody listening in audio podcast land, if you're listening in audio podcast land, we're available everywhere pods are cast. You can get us on Apple Podcasts and on Spreaker and on iHeartRadio now and Amazon. You can get our podcast virtually anywhere in audio format, but you're getting a replay. You're not getting the live show. So if you're listening in audio podcast land, please do go over to YouTube, put Truthseekers, one word, in that search box. Look for the guy with the weird sunglasses. That would be me, your host, Stephen Cambion, and click that subscribe button. Hit the notification bell. You'll know about live shows, and you can come here and interact with our live chat with us. I'm going to devote my full and total attention to the live chat now. Really, if you're in audio podcast land, you're missing half of the fun, and that is interacting with our live chat. We take comments and questions. Melissa is here and says, every time I hear Morningstar, I can't avoid thinking of a certain biblical character. Yeah, I think that's a stage name. I doubt his real name is Morningstar, right? Terry Joyce has a donut for Charles. Okay. What did I miss? I missed something that they said. Let's see. Oh man, every time I have to say this. Gegen offen Ickelt. Truthseekers, you sound like a wonderful father. Thanks for keeping these hoaxers honest. Great show as always. Cheers from, is that Berlin? I would think that you're German. Ich spreche Deutsch nicht wer geht's. Gegen offen Ickelt. Yeah. I barely passed German in high school. I don't know what, I always thought it was funny is like, if you're stupid, at least in Catholic high school, this is the way it worked. If you were stupid or dumb, or that's a terrible thing to say. If you're not, let's say, mentally gifted, they put you in third track. You don't have to take a foreign language, nothing. If you were smart, you got penalized because now you got to take advanced algebra classes and foreign languages and all this stuff. And the other kids, they got out of it. And I was always pissed. Like, I have no desire to learn German. Why do I have to learn German? It'll expand your, I don't know what excuse they gave me, but it didn't resonate with me. And to this day, I can barely speak a word of German, even though I had 2 years of it. Yeah. I thought it would be easy to take German, though, because I speak a little Polish. My father was Polish. My grandparents were Polish. And I mean, right off the boat Polish, first-generation immigrants. And they spoke Polish in the home, but my father, for some reason, didn't want us speaking Polish in the home. And my mother didn't speak Polish. So growing up, we all spoke English. But years later, I would regret that because I could speak a little Polish and understand a little bit of it, but not much. Not as much as I would if we would have been bilingual in our household growing up, right? Oh, FGraph72 mentioning your soundtracks rocks. Mr. Cambion, thank you for your Patreon uploads. Yes, I uploaded 2 new songs that I just completed to Patreon. That's another way to support us. Sign up for Patreon. It's $1 a month. You get a backstage pass. I post all my songs there as I'm working on this new album. And by the way, when the album is finished, everybody on Patreon is getting it for free. And then it's going to be available, on iTunes and everywhere else for purchase. But you Patreon folks, you pay your $1 a month and you're going to get the album for free. And I got to say, too, thinking about Mark's death is sad. But today, I found out that one of my old musician friends passed away. And this was back in January, and I didn't even know because I don't really speak to most of my old musician friends anymore. But this guy and I had so many adventures together. His name was Tommy Scars, and he was the singer and songwriter of a band called Scars Like These. And I just want to recognize him and say, I'll miss you, brother. He and I had this... I was never in his band, and he was never in my band because he's a singer-songwriter, and I'm a singer-songwriter. So, but each of our bands would play shows together, like his band and my band and maybe one other band. And one time we had this event where we rented a U-Haul, 3 bands. And then we were like 16 or 17 or I don't know, maybe a little older than that, maybe 18, but nobody had a car. So we rent a U-Haul, like one of those panel trucks with no windows. And then we all put our gear in there and then we rode 40 minutes to the show. In the back of a U-Haul, in the middle of summer where it's 102 degrees in Philadelphia, we all back there in this U-Haul almost died of heat stroke because it was 40 minutes in an unair-conditioned U-Haul with no windows. But we survived. Tommy is survived by 2 wonderful boys and his wife. And, I want to offer them my condolences and to all his friends and family. The guitar player, Michael Lieb, who played on most of my last project and may play on this one, we haven't spoken really in a while. I'm sure is heartbroken because that was his songwriting partner. It's really, really sad. Melissa, but you can both be stupid and also smart and get the privileges and bully others while also being bullied by the nuns. Stupidity comes in many ways. Yeah, I just always thought it was funny. Like, what? So you're telling me I'm getting penalized and I have to take really hard courses and work harder because I'm smart. Thanks. Yeah, first track is no fun. And my wife was in first track too. She took Spanish, I think, right? All Around Arbiter says man versus food. Yeah. Terry Charles says, yeah, Terry, I just got up and running again 2 days ago, so it's a slog. Lost some stuff forever, though. Oh, sounds like a computer crash. Backups. Oh, I want to mention this as well. I'm going to go and take a look. I have uploaded all of the Midnight Hour episodes to my Google Drive, but the problem is there's 45 videos, 45 episodes, and it takes YouTube days and days, apparently, to process all of those videos. So let me share this so you can see what's going on. But there are some amazing interviews in the Midnight Hour show. For those that don't know, before I ran the show Truthseekers or was the host here, I was the host of a show called The Midnight Hour, which was on the Fringe FM and other audio podcast networks every Saturday night at midnight. And I did some amazing interviews for the Midnight Hour show, including Stanton Friedman, Stephen Bassett, John McAfee, and many others. And I am going to be sharing the all 45 of the Midnight Hour episodes with the Patreon supporters first, but then they'll be here on this website. But see, here's the issue. Every one of those that you see is red is not yet processed by YouTube, so they won't play, and you have to download them. And, you know, every one of them is like, I don't know, 500, 600 megs. So nobody wants to download all that. So I have to wait a few more days to share these on Patreon until they're all processed. You see the ones with the play? Those are processed and will play. But all the ones in red, you'd have to download to watch them. And the total collection is something like 25 gigs. And I know that nobody wants to download 25 gigs, so I'm going to wait a few more days until these have finished processing and are all playable. And at that point, I will certainly share them on Patreon. Anybody on Patreon, you get to listen to them ad-free. And they'll always be there on Patreon as a Patreon benefit. Everybody else, you might have to sit through some ads, especially in audio podcast land. We're going to be sending them through the audio podcast network, all 45 episodes, and we're going to be posting all 45 episodes here on the YouTube channel as well. Grandmaster UV is here. Welcome to the show. So Stephen Cambrian, it's Cambian, but that's fine. What genetics do you have, bro? I'm half Polish and half Irish, which is a dangerous combination because I always like to say I'm half drunk and half stupid. I love Polish jokes, though. Polish jokes are awesome. And, you know, if people know you're Polish, they won't tell you Polish jokes, but I still hear some anyway. My favorite one is, did you hear about the Polak that died raking leaves? He fell out of a tree. Oh, there's a million Polish jokes, right? And he says, awesome, bro. Yeah, it was weird growing up, too, because the Irish people drink whiskey and the Polish people drink vodka. And at family parties, everybody was just getting ripped, right? And they try to outdo each other, kind of, right? Yeah. Okay, so All Around Orbiter likes to watch competitive eating videos. Okay. I like that Chinese girl. Do you know who I'm talking about, All Around Orbiter? She wins the Philadelphia Wing Bowl every year. She did. She's this little, like, 5-foot, 100-pound Chinese girl, and she could eat wings more and faster than big fat men. I always thought it was amazing. Sorry for my loss. Yeah, you know, I feel bad that I didn't even know about it because I knew him for 25 years, you know, and just now finding out because somebody sent me, I didn't even know that he had died. Somebody sent me like, hey, go to this benefit concert this weekend. Are you going, right? And I felt bad because I already had made plans and I couldn't make it. And I didn't even know that he had passed away. And he was my age, so pretty young to just, so he had a sudden heart attack and died. And, you know, in thinking about Mark McCandlish and my friend here, it just reminds me like how mortal we are. And that's kind of sad, right? And it's disturbing. Once in a while, I wonder how we all don't go crazy just with the sheer knowledge that one day we're going to die. I mean, it's just a weird thing to think about, right? I try not to think about it. And I think most of us do, right? We don't think about death until we have to. I think most people don't. But as for me, I'm real big on finishing things like dreams. This cabin I'm sitting in, a few years ago, this was dirt. There was nothing here. I built every inch of this cabin with blood, sweat, and tears, and a lot of trash picking in job site dumpsters, and the windows. I was picking windows out of the trash, picking doors out of the trash, wood out of the trash, anything I could get. So a few short years ago, this cabin was not here. This was a dream of mine, a lifetime goal of mine. I needed to do it. I felt like I had to build a cabin, right? Because it's just something that I've always wanted to do. And I'm happy to say that I did it. Now it's off my bucket list. And I've got other things that I want to do before I croak that I really want to work on, right? Renee Miss Jonaside is here. Welcome to the show. Says Blonde gets padded sheets off jokes. Yeah, blondes get a lot of jokes. My wife is blonde, so I tell her blonde jokes once in a while. Melissa says, I share that with you. You get what I talk about, very natural. Yeah, I get you, Melissa, and I'm glad that you're here. So I want to thank each and every one of you guys for joining us. I am going to go get my eat on. I'm eating some fried chicken, which is one of my favorite things. If anybody wants to get me a gift, you get me a bucket of fried chicken. Maybe not soon. Soon I'm going on a diet, and I'm not going to be able to eat this stuff. I'm going to go on low-carb diet, which is going to be terrible because I'm not going to be able to drink beer or eat pizza. And those are two of my favorite things. And so is fried chicken, and that's a lot of carbs with the breading. And, I don't know. I guess I'll be eating grilled chicken instead. But, yeah, I'm going to be doing this 75 hard, I think, which is an exercise fitness plan where you exercise 45 minutes a day twice. Once you can do inside, and the other 45 minutes you got to do outside, even if it's raining or snowing or whatever's going on. And you go on a sensible diet, and you're supposed to know alcohol. I don't know if I might modify that to vodka is okay, right? Vodka doesn't have a lot of calories in it, does it? I don't think so. It's got to have less calories. Like if you drink a shot of vodka, that's got to be less calories than a whole beer. I would think so anyway. So I'm glad that we could come here. I'm glad that we could set the record straight, especially for the friends and family of Mark McCandlish. I want to thank a few of Mark McCandlish friends and family who have reached out to me. Some of them I've spoken with on the phone. Some of them I've emailed or corresponded with. And they've all been very supportive of me doing this work to set the record straight so that people understand that what happened to Mark McCandlish was a tragic suicide. And I'm going to keep him in my thoughts and prayers. I thought he was a brilliant man. He was incredibly talented, and the world is going to miss him. We had Michael Schratt on our show who said that Mark McCandlish was insanely talented when it came to drawing. He'd never seen somebody who could make photorealistic drawings straight from memory with just a pencil. He was incredibly talented. I'm sad that he's gone. I'm sad that he took his own life. And I'm sad that the world will miss all of his artwork that he could have finished with the remainder of his natural life had he held on. My condolences to his friends, his family especially, and my continued condemnation goes out to all those people who are going to invent fake stories and continue to claim that there was some conspiracy around this. It's a very clear-cut case of self-inflicted gunshot wound and suicide. He had told people that he was depressed. He's being treated for depression. He called his landlord to say he was going to kill himself. He left a 2-page suicide note detailing who gets what. But Conspiracy Land is still going to probably argue with me. And I'm prepared for that. That's fine. But we have facts, we have evidence, and most people have fairy tales. So I'm glad that we could do this tonight. I'm glad that we could set the record straight. I'm glad that you could all be here with me to help set the record straight. And I want to encourage you, especially for this video, share it on your social media so that we can stop these people from trying to profit from this man's tragic suicide. this kind of thing really burnt me up and fired me up, but I'm glad that I got fired up because it took a long time to get to all the police and the coroner and to get the coroner's report and all of these things. I'm glad that I did this work. I consider this good work. I consider this a community service, and somebody had to do it. And I'm always kind of like, if no one else is going to do it, then fine, let it be me. I'll do it because somebody had to do this today. And do the previous reports that we did dispelling these rumors and these fairy tales, right? So, friends, I'm always happy when there's an audience. I'm here at the cabin by myself. My wife decided that she was going to come up with the boys tomorrow, so I had to jump up here a little early, try to get a show in, and do some things before she gets here tomorrow. I'm going to have a fun night tonight. I want to thank each and every one of you for joining us tonight. And, boy, what else can I say? I'm hoping that there'll be a couple more shows before the week is over. But you never know what is going to happen. I'm here at the cabin feeling summertime, right? Last week we went to a carnival. This week we might go to another carnival. Who knows what plans my wife has for me. But I am setting up. See, the problem with doing shows here is I have two boys and it sounds like a herd of elephants everywhere in the cabin. It's a small cabin. So I could go in the other room, but then you could still hear them bouncing around in here and screaming and laughing and whatever. So I'm setting up the camping trailer to be a temporary, boy, I started right at the bottom, right? We got this little dumpy camping trailer next to the cabin that I stayed in while building the cabin, and that's kind of like the guest quarters when a guest comes to stay. It's tiny, but it'll work, and it'll be away from the cabin, so you shouldn't be able to hear it. Anyway, we're going to have a new temporary Truthseeker studio in the middle of the woods here in the form of this broken down camper. But it'll work. It'll work, friends. We'll work with it. Like I said, I'm always happy when there's an audience. I want to thank each and every one of you for coming here tonight and for being a part of mine. Yeah, until next time, friends, my name is Stephen Cambion. Good night, and God bless you all, especially you, Mr. McCandlish. Rest in peace.
Truthseekers is a viewer-supported show. Wonderful people like you who enjoy this show send pledges in the form of super chats, super stickers, super thanks, PayPal, or Cash App. Instructions for how to help are in the description. You can also join our Patreon, and for as little as $1 a month you can get extra content. Patreon supporters get a backstage pass, early access to all our production videos before they are distributed publicly, Stephen Campion's music, private writings, a monthly show journal, and more. You can also become a YouTube channel member for $5 a month. A YouTube membership includes all of the Patreon benefits, plus a special members badge, priority reply to video comments, and the live chat, plus a monthly members-only video. We thank you all, kind and generous benefactors, for supporting Truth Seekers. Thank you for your generosity and support. Truthseekers is a viewer-supported show. Now there's a great way to support these broadcasts and show your support. Please be sure and check out our merchandise store. Links to our 2 merchandise online stores are in the links to this video or podcast. The Amazon storefront ships super quickly in the United States, Great Britain, and in many more places. Amazon may not ship to your country or location. If that's the case, hit our second merchandise link in the description and visit our Redbubble storefront. Merchandise from our Redbubble storefront ships worldwide, but may take longer than Amazon. We've got a great deal of super high quality merchandise for you to choose from, including t-shirts, phone cases, sweatshirts, and even pillows. The feedback from our products have been overwhelmingly great. Quality products and fast shipping. People all over the world are buying some merchandise and showing their support of the show. Praise the cash! Praise the cash! Praise the cash! We thank you all, kind and generous benefactors, who are buying some merchandise and helping us to continue this journey. Thanks for being here. This is Truthseekers with your host, Stephen Campion. Please rate, like and comment on our videos or podcasts. If you are listening to an audio podcast, please rate us 5 stars to help us rise in the search rankings. If you are watching on YouTube, please like, comment and subscribe to our channel. If you're listening to an audio podcast, we love and appreciate you listeners, but you are missing the live tapings. All our shows are recorded live with video feed. We'd love you to come be a part of our live broadcasts and tapings for the podcast. Head on over to YouTube, click the search tool, the little magnifying glass, put Truthseekers, one word in the search bar, and hit enter. You'll see a strange and mysterious guy with sunglasses. That means you found the channel. Go there, smash the subscribe button and hit the notification bell to receive up-to-date info on our YouTube channel. We welcome you to be a part of our live taping and our chat room during the live broadcasts. Seek the truth. Speak the truth. This is Truthseekers. Truthseekers.